Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Monday. I'm glad you're here. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message, I'm talk about the Pope, the new Pope, um, leadership and transition and Leo the 14th, first American Pope, 69 years old, took the name of 13 men who, before him, wore the name sort of like armor. And at least a couple of times they used it like a sword. And I apologize, my dog is making noise up there. I've got him locked out of my office and he's whining at the door. Sorry. Sometimes that happens, right? You want to get let in and you're just refused entry. Um, that's not the issue with the church. The doors are open to everybody. Um, when the announcement came down and people were talking about the white smoke and everything else, and I saw a lot of people complaining about the pageantry of the church, and uh, some people said the arrogance of the church. Well, they don't speak for me, and it's not my pope. And okay, you know, why can't you just let people have their own faith and say, okay, that works for you. It doesn't work for me, but maybe that's a red mic message for another time. Me, I've said this before, I think. I'm a cradle Catholic, baptized as a baby, grew up with the rhythm of the Mass, the statues, the smells, the bells, the history. Um, my wife and I left the church for a few years. We tried out a few other denominations, visited some good people, and heard some good preaching, but it never really felt right to me. So we eventually came back to the church. We moved to a different parish, found a new community, and we've come back. Um, not because everything was fixed, not because every scar had healed, but because something about the Catholic faith, the rootedness, the sacraments, the call to serve, it still spoke to us, still spoke to me, it pulled me back. Um, my crisis of faith sort of happened gradually, I guess. My parents split, uh, and then all of a sudden I didn't have a buffer between me and my mom, and she was a lot to deal with. She was sort of a functional but closeted alcoholic and hid that from just about everybody. And uh, Dad did a good job of hiding that from me too. Um, but I was mad at him about some stuff related to their divorce. I ended up being frustrated and mad with her, and then at her about that same time, the church changed the mass up a little bit and changed the responses, and Sheldon Cooper moment. It was just all different, and I had to go get on a train. So, um, but eventually we came back, and some of the stuff in the church's past, the the abuse scandal and the institutional silence, and you know, I haven't forgotten that, but I felt like it was time to, you know, move past what the church was and what it was trying to be. Um, and prayers for Pope Francis. He wasn't always the Pope that I wanted him to be, but who am I? Feet of clay and all of that. But I do think the church is worth fighting for, and it's worth being a part of. It's worth rebuilding, and I think that's where Pope Leo the 14th comes in. The name Leo means lion, and I think the church needs a lion, not to roar over or roar at people, but to guard the gates, to walk the property, so to speak. Um, it's his watch. It's his time. Leadership's not about being liked. It's about being trusted. And trust isn't rebuilt with pageantry. It's rebuilt with truth telling, with transparency, with accountability, brick by honest brick. Um, there's sort of a bit of a schism in the church right now. You've got people wanting the church to um, sort of be like Buddy Jesus from the Kevin Smith movie. Other people want to, return to the Latin Mass and the hard conservatism and um, not to go all Forrest Gump here, but maybe it's a little bit of both. Um, you can move forward with, some transition, some evolution, so to speak, but also hold on to the tradition, the conservatism, if you will, the history of what made the church. Pope Leo's inherited more than a title. He has inherited a ongoing job of rebuilding the credibility, but also maintaining the tradition, maintaining the history, protecting the vulnerable, calling sin out for what it is, and not hiding behind vestments or marble or tradition or any of that. No more abuse, no more cover ups. Be honest, step forward, be the lion for the church that, frankly, I think the church needs. Choose the hard path. And I think if he does that, he won't just be the first American pope. He'll be a true shepherd, a lion guarding the flock. All at the same time being a Chicago White Sox fan. I thought that was kind of cool. I actually saw a video of the Pope. He was apparently he was Father Bob at the time, and I think it was 0405 when the White Sox were in the World Series, and for some fluke, there was a panning of the crowd, and there he was. He was still just a priest, obviously, at the time, still local parish priest, and was at the World Series. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I've enjoyed seeing the interviews with his brother, at least one of his brothers. I saw an interview, and they said they always joked with him, saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to grow up and be Pope someday," and then he was. So a bit of a ramble this morning, but leadership and transition, and I hope that this new Pope is what the church needs. I hope it's what the faithful need, whether it's people of Catholic faith or people of other faiths. I hope that he chooses the path to be a shepherd, a lion, guarding over his flock, protectively, not jealously, but with good thoughts and good intentions for everybody that are following that particular call. And that's today's Red Mike message. I will focus more on business stuff the rest of the week. I do think I'm going to end up trying to do a hashtag Fun Friday every Friday. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. And don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon.